McGurk! I love typing.
Not mess with my Google Docs, Meeksy.
Supergirl Radio is going live every night of the week. How do you like it? Is becoming a human burrito a plus or a minus? I don't know. It does seem snug.
I mean, they say you are what you eat.
Kira.
I llove that.
So I do a podcast called Supergirl Radio, and one of our segments is Lena Luthor, Boardroom or Ballroom. Because
really? She looks like a boss in this coat.
Nasty Luthor like a different Luthor? It's not just Lena being mean?
No.
Helen Slater here. So fun to know that you're hosting a podcast called Supergirl Radio.
So we just got out of the Flash movie.
We did.
The greatest cinematic achievement of all time.
I don't know about you, but I feel different.
I am a different person now.
I'm gonna now know my life is before the Flash and after the Flash.
There's two stages of life now. I guess the question is, genuinely,
yes,
and realistically, do you think it was a great movie? Did it live up to the hype? I guess is the question.
I thought it was a fun movie. I thought it was an enjoyable movie. I did not think that it changed the genre of cinema or even maybe superhero movies, but I thought it was enjoyable. I think maybe perhaps their plan of hyping it up so hard might have backfired in that I was a little bit more judgmental than I would have been.
Oh, I definitely judged it harsher because of it.
Not known that it changed Jaden Smith's life.
I wonder now I want to know what in that movie changed his life.
I want to know the moment where he was like, everything's different. Maybe it was like when he saw Michael Keaton, he was like,
it might have been the multiverse. I
think that maybe the concept
that, like, blew
of the
his
multiverse.
mind.
I feel like the concept of a multiverse at this point, like, doesn't even need, like, it's not like a mind-blowing concept even to people who don't really read comics, because like it's been in like Spider-Verse, it's been in like Marvel movies,
it's been on the
Arrowverse in the TV show. It did kind of remind me of like the Crisis that the Arrowverse did.
Generally, I think it tried to do maybe a little too much.
There was a lot happening.
It was like Crisis on Infinite Earths plus Flashpoint plus origin story plus alternate reality.
Yes.
There's a lot going on in that.
I think considering how much it tried to do, they did a good job with it. Like, there were points where I was like, wow, we're doing this too, but it never felt like overwhelming, like they were just throwing things at the wall. Like, I felt like there was like intentionality behind it.
Right.
But like on the flip side, like maybe like they could have reined in on like one of those 5 concepts that they were putting out there.
But I guess if you do time travel like that, you almost have to incorporate the multiverse.
Oh yeah. That's
true.
I
guess you don't. But I guess if you utilize time travel and that like Barry's time traveling, then he messes up time, then that's the way you show that he screwed up time. Is
exactly. You got to have some
reality.
alternate stuff.
Yeah. I thought it got A to B. Like, it told a story. It told a complete story. It started one way, got to the end, and sort of corrected itself. I guess.
Kind of.
Not in a way that I liked in how it ended.
I guess
it's also very confusing too.
I guess I kind of felt like the reason that they like, with all the Ezra Miller of it all, they were like, no, we're sticking with this. We believe in this movie. We believe in it despite everything. Was that like it was going to kind of set up this next phase of the DC movie evolution? But in my opinion, and I could be wrong, it didn't really do that. It did maybe a little bit of table setting where it's like, okay, now when we go into like the James Gunn stuff, we'll understand that it's a different universe. But like I feel like maybe we didn't need a whole movie to set that up.
But I'm also now confused about it because
we're gonna go down a rabbit hole of like, wait a minute,
because Ezra Miller's Flash still exists. Jason Momoa's Aquaman still exists.
He does.
Though I got the idea that Ben Affleck's Batman is not in that universe.
It seems no.
So did he never exist? Like Henry Cavill's Superman? Did Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman never exist now?
Well, I know. I feel like by the end of the movie, again, spoiler section,
this
wink.
Is very
but I feel like by the end of the movie, he had gotten back to the main universe. So,
but
arguably,
George Clooney's Batman.
I know.
Is Batman now?
I know. So
can you have multiple Batman in the same universe?
It brings up the question of like, is Gal Gadot still Wonder Woman in that universe? Is Henry Cavill still Superman in that universe, or has he messed up everything?
But they only kept Jason Momoa as Aquaman because he's got a movie coming out, so you have to keep him in there.
I really thought that this was going to do a better job of like, this is going to set up,
at least wipe the slate clean.
This is going to.
I would have hated that, but at least it would have made sense.
Like, for I just think that they're going to jump into the James Gunn stuff, and they're going to be like, multiverse. This is a different universe. You all know about multiverse because you saw The Flash, and your lives, like ours, were changed.
Are different now
forever.
Yeah,
but that's kind of what I'm assuming, because I initially thought, kind of like you, that like the end of the movie was going to be like, okay, and now we're going to go into these new ones. But that's kind of not what happened. I don't know. I was unclear. Like, he messed up Batman, but again, we know that there's, at any one time, that there's 50 Batmans, and that WB is going to make a movie about each one of them.
Now that we've talked about multiple Batman.
Infinite Batmans. It's Batmans all the way down.
There were multiple Supergirls in this one.
I mean, it was the same one. She just had a rough time of it.
Well, Sashe Calle did get murdered. I don't know, 10 times
we're
maybe?
in our spoiler section, so we can say that was more murder than I wanted to see in my...
Here's a new Supergirl. Let's kill her.
We're excited to see her. Rebecca came all the way here to beautiful New Jersey to see Supergirl with me on the big screen, and we got to watch her die like 20 times.
I mean, it might have been 20 times. I stopped counting at a certain point.
Towards the end, I was just like, I mean, calm down, guys. Calm down. Some of us were excited to see her on screen, not necessarily dying constantly.
Jeez. That was unexpected.
No, did not see that one coming.
But then they brought one, not back from the dead, but like back from screen death, like Helen Slater's.
Oh,
I think it was supposed to be Helen Slater. It didn't much look like her.
It was. I think they did the CGI. And I think that they were kind of medium at it.
Yeah, it sort of had the Helen Slater.
She had like a vibe, a Slater vibe, and I was like, I will accept that this is Helen Slater because it's cinema.
It was kind of cool to see her with Christopher Reeve's Superman.
That was really cool.
Like, that one made sense to me. But then they had...
She made it.
Then they had George Reeves' Superman, who I guess was in some film serials.
Yeah.
But he was more of a TV Superman.
I felt like there were some call-outs to the Arrowverse, because it felt to me like what they did in Crisis.
It was almost exactly like that.
Yeah, which, I gotta be honest, it works for me every single time. It's pandering, and I recognize that, but I can be pandered to very easily.
Yeah, because they did it on the Arrowverse. They were more honoring the TV side of things.
Yes.
Although they also included Superman Returns in some way.
Yeah, I think so. Brandon Routh. But I mean, to be fair, they already had him from like Legends, so he was but them easily.
So this I thought was supposed to be like the movie version of that
universe. But yeah, I did laugh when I was like, oh, okay, we're going into the TV, because they also had the old school Batman, like
Batman 66.
Yeah.
Well, I guess technically, I think you can get away with it because
did they have a movie?
The Batman TV show had a movie.
Really?
Yeah, I think that's the famous one where
this?
he has the bomb. He has to get rid of the bomb.
Oh, okay.
You've seen the GIF?
Clips. Yeah.
So I think that is technically a movie, so you could kind of get away with it that way.
But I wouldn't have been surprised if we saw like some of the Arrowverse just
I
pop
kind of thought at some point we would get it, but I think they were going for more of the
because they went
stuff.
for like the old-fashioned Flash too, with like the little bucket helmet.
I don't think
he was on there.
I don't think there's a history of him on film. So I think
he had just the TV show, right? I'm a Flash scholar, as you can tell.
Bucket Flash, aka Jay Garrick.
Yes,
is who that's supposed to be.
We all knew. We don't need that explained to us. We're all experts here.
Yeah, I don't know where he came from, unless it was just supposed to be like a Flash nod to other Flashes.
But I wouldn't have hated seeing like a second of Grant Gustin. I know that's like I'm Arrowverse like pilled.
But then if you open that door, you have to include Los Benoist.
Yes, that's true.
What's his face? Oliver Queen. Stephen Amell.
And then it's never ending because of how big that universe was. It's like, where does it stop?
Oh, some fact checking here. It says the unnamed sources have confirmed that Sears did not reprise his role for The Flash Season 2, but instead the character that is seen in the movie's climax among the various timelines is a generic Golden Age Flash depiction. So that was not...
You've seen it here at Screen Rant.
So I guess that was supposed to be just like a Flash
just
homage.
They're just like, remember when he had that bucket helmet?
So what did you think about Sashe Calle, Supergirl?
I liked her. I wish she had like a little, I mean, so the character is like very traumatized because she's had like a very,
she's been in prison.
It's been rough. It's not been a happy time for her. So I feel like because of that, she's very like sort of like even keel, just kind of like upset about things, just generally kind of bummed. And I like to see a little bit of a happier Supergirl, but overall I thought she was good. Like I thought she had some really cool fight scenes, and I like that scene, the sort of the homage to her death in the comics where she like is holding Barry Allen.
Yeah, it's
like,
kind of a reversal.
Kind of the reversal.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's clever. Like someone read a comic here.
Yeah.
I say being the person judging them by referring to him as Bucket Flash. Why don't people read comics anymore? Like my favorite with Bucket Flash.
I think we might be spoiling people who are going to this restaurant, but
that's fine.
Maybe hopefully none of they've already seen the Flash. They know.
They've all already seen it. We can, that's how you get into the restaurant we're waiting to go into.
you have to go see it before you get in.
They're like, tell us an Easter egg that you noticed in the Flash, and then you're allowed in.
Yeah, they didn't do a lot with Sashe Calle's Supergirl, but I think she did all of like the fight scenes and the heat vision and some of the acting pretty well. I think the writing did fail her a little bit.
What I wanted more from
the dialogue. I did not think was great.
I wanted more from her, and I wanted more of her. Like as we were going through the movie, I was like, all right, where is she? Like when's she coming? And it's like pretty. You're pretty deep into the movie before she pops up, and she's like not in it a ton. Like she's got some stuff, but like not a ton of stuff. And I was like, I would have liked a little bit more. Like, yeah, Michael Keaton's Batman is awesome, and Michael Keaton is awesome, but like, you know, we've kind of seen his Batman. You know who we haven't seen on screen in a really long time? Supergirl. You know, who wasn't allowed to have another movie again after the Omega Hedron mix-up. Supergirl.
I did think it was a little weird that Supergirl goes and she finds General Zod and his goons.
Yeah.
And then she leaves for some reason to go back to the Batcave.
That was unclear to me. Why that was happening.
Why did she just leave?
And she kind of makes a mad face, like, these guys, but then she just leaves. She just like, she watches them start to like annihilate the military, and she's like, seems like a not my problem kind of situation. Just kind of nopes out of there. Like I expect her to do something different from like what I would do in that situation.
Yeah, I thought that was a little. There's a reason she did.
She's gonna get like, she's gonna hear somebody screaming or like crying for her, and she's gonna be like, ooh, like or something, and then it'll make more sense.
Yeah, I thought some of the action stuff with her was good. There was one shot where it's right before she punches the like a missile or something.
Oh,
it's kind of like a wind up to it that I thought was really cool. So some of the action was good. I just like some of the connection to General Zod. I think like for him to have known who she was.
I mean, I guess
you have to go with it.
I guess you could kind of go like, okay, he probably knew her parents. So like, yeah.
If he knew Jor-El, he would have known Zor-El.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So that makes some sense, but like to like specifically like want her, yeah, I don't know. That makes a ton of sense. It's like, how old was she when she left? Like, I mean, 12.
It depends on the story, but she probably was like a teenager at least.
It's like, we gotta get that. We gotta get that teen girl.
Yeah, I thought some of it was good. Some of it I didn't care for, like the sort of replacing Henry Cavill's Superman. She basically, I got annoyed that articles were calling her female Superman, and she just was female Superman, which was a bummer. That she, instead of him, had the codex inside of her.
Yeah, it was like kind of explicit in the movie too. It's like, you know, because he messed up the reality of everything. Right. Instead of it being Clark, his friend, who he was used to be able to loop in, it was this like new person he never heard of before, like basically took over that Clark spot within Man of Steel. Which, by the way, so glad that Rebecca suggested we rewatch Man of Steel, because I would have been so lost in this movie. I said that to me was like kind of a weird choice of like hinging so much of your movie on like a movie that came out 10 years ago.
Yes, and the idea that you would be, as a director, taking someone else's film, recreating it, and totally replacing those characters with your own. I thought it was a little disrespectful, to be honest. But I guess there was a point to that to show the multiverse and how things would change. I did not care for the infanticide. They kind of glossed over it.
To be fair, Kara was real sad about it.
General Zod's like, yeah, the baby didn't make it, and then they just kind of went to Michael Keaton's Batman.
He's like, a shame about the baby.
Yeah. So that's kind of a big deal that Superman died as a baby.
Babies in trouble in this movie.
A lot of babies.
A lot of babies in trouble. The babies had a hard time in this movie.
One of my favorite parts.
This movie was very anti-baby.
One of my favorite parts of the movie was actually the credit sequence with the dog.
Oh my god, that was hilarious.
Where you see the dog's perspective of
what happened.
Flash time and seeing everyone be saved. That was actually pretty good, I will say.
And he like catches the baby at one point and like flies over, and then the baby's gone again. Yeah. I thought that like that early sequence of like the Flash having to be like, okay, how do I do this and how do I do that and where do I put the babies? Like, how do I catch all these babies? And then having him take breaks to like eat a burrito and then like put a baby in like put a baby in a microwave, which I didn't know how I felt about.
That seemed a little sketchy at first, but then it protected the baby from like the explosion or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So there was a purpose to it. I thought it was
clever how they showed it.
Yeah.
The CGI on the babies, let's be honest, was a little so-so. They looked a little bit like the dancing baby from Ally McBeal.
A little bit.
Right?
Little bit.
I was expecting one of those little guys to bust a move at any point.
But I do think that the way that they handled the Flash's powers, I thought was really
cool. Yeah.
Some of it was kind of CW Flash.
It was actually.
A little bit.
I felt knowledgeable as somebody who doesn't like really read Flash comics and doesn't have that background in the lore. I felt like, oh yeah, I know how a lot of this works from the Flash TV show.
Yeah,
because they were kind of using the same, like the Speed Force and like being able to go back in time and like even how he his like when he was running, it's very similar to how they have it on the TV show.
Yeah, a little bit. He sort of like pushes the lightning out a little bit instead of the straight running that Grant Gustin would do. So there's a little bit of difference there. I did think Ezra Miller did a good job.
I thought so too. Yeah.
I thought the two berries were pulled off extremely well.
And they felt different too, which is like it's not necessarily easy. Like we can't all be Tatiana Maslany in Orphan Black, where I'm like, oh my god, like how does she know that other actor? Oh, because she's every one of the actresses. I would like legitimately forget that, like, oh, how does she know that actor? That only Cosima is in scenes with, because she's Cosima. Oh my god, every time. But it's I think it's a really rare talent to be able to like be in scenes with yourself and be markedly different in scenes with yourself, and so I thought that they did a good job in that.
It never took me out of it.
No,
which
that's
I thought
true.
was surprising to me. I thought like I would notice like the CGI of it, but I never did, and I actually started to wonder like, how did they do this? Because it was so seamless at times.
It was really good. It
like
was really
he
good.
even picked up the berry. I think it like they would.
Oh
he would have to pick like when they were breaking into. They were breaking into the lab to get the lightning. That sequence made me. Like I just was trying to figure out how they accomplished it.
Yeah, they did a good job.
It was like they were interacting in the same space together.
I think the effects were good, like overall, and there were some of them where
some of them were sketchy, but I thought that especially was very good.
That was good, yeah,
because that's quite the task.
And the fight scene at the end, I thought that they did a pretty good job with overall,
like the stuff in the desert or the stuff in this like. Because they ended up in the Speed Force at some point.
Oh yeah, like the stuff in the desert I thought was pretty well done. Yeah. Like I was like involved in that action.
Yeah.
But mostly because I was like, yeah, go Supergirl, go. Oh no, we can't change it, but we're gonna keep trying and trying and trying. I'm like, could you stop trying to change it? I can't watch her die anymore.
So we'll have to dive into this in more detail, but I'm not entirely sure who the evil berry was supposed to be. I need to maybe either talk to Andy about it. I initially thought he was supposed to be the Reverse Flash.
That's what I thought.
Because he wore yellow a lot.
Could he have been like, what was the one that was in one of the scenes? It was Yes,
it could have been
that's
Savitar.
what I was thinking.
He looked kind of like Savitar.
Savitar-esque.
I'm gonna jump in real quick because when I first saw him, I was like, that looks like Savitar, like in the early movie when he shows up, just his face for a second, and I almost said it to you, and I was like, that's too silly. Plus, I don't know if Morgan watched that far.
I watched that far.
I don't remember.
How dare you?
It was like season 3.
It was pretty.
together.
Yeah, it was pretty early too. I think.
So I'm actually kind of bummed if it was Savitar, I'm actually kind of bummed it wasn't Reverse Flash, because that would make sense as to why Flash would, like, because the lore is that Reverse Flash is the one who kills Nora.
I kept waiting for that to come into play, and then I was like, oh, in like this movie, is it really just like a burglary gone wrong?
Well, we don't know who kills her. We never see that. But I don't want to spoil the movie, but we never see it happen. We never see it happen.
We don't. That's true. I guess the question is like, does it remain a mystery? Because are there going to be any more Flash movies?
Oh, I don't know. I mean,
I feel like
if it does well, there probably will be.
There might have been pre-cult starting in the desert or whatever Ezra Miller's up to recently, but I mean, I feel like they've established a multiverse, which is means that they can just kind of be like,
a new Flash.
It's a new Flash.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. He went back in time so many times, he changed himself into a less problematic actor.
I think if it does well financially, there will probably be another one.
Yeah.
But I'm still conflicted on that, because it's like, how do you justify that with what they're doing with the DCU?
I don't know that I don't know how that works.
I'm even kind of confused.
Yeah, I don't know how that works, because it feels like the Ezra Miller Flash is so much part of that universe with like Man of Steel and Batman v Superman and Justice League, and like they're moving away from all of those actors and like that mythology. So I don't know how you would just keep the Flash. I feel like well, for many reasons you have to recast.
Can they keep Sashe Calle's Supergirl?
That's what makes me sad, because I suspect that this might be her only appearance, Sashe Calle Supergirl, and like I would have liked a little bit more from it. I would have liked it a little bit more triumphant. I would have liked it to end with less multiple deaths.
I don't know how you justify it, because her connection was, well, I guess, yeah, it would have had to have been Henry Cavill's Superman.
Yeah, and
because her suit has the Kryptonian in the S, just like his does, and then General Zod talked to her as if they were talking about Henry Cavill's Superman.
Yeah, it was definitely, that was the universe, kind of like the Flash's universe is the universe of like Henry Cavill's Superman, and like the only big change was that he had died, and like the only super person left was Kara. So, yeah, I don't know how you would bring her. I mean, I guess, again, it's like comic book logic. So if they really wanted to do it, they could figure it out. They'd be like, oh, yeah, no, don't worry about it. This is just Kara.
But, like, I guess you don't have to do this. But, like, Woman of Tomorrow takes place in a world where Superman exists. Because there's that one world that they go to where they, like, hated Superman so much that they created a way to kill him.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Yeah.
So if Superman doesn't exist, but then I guess with the multiverse, you could just say that like she just looks like
Supergirl.
Her.
She's a different Supergirl.
Put a different Supergirl suit on.
She's
looks
a different
like Supergirl on another Earth.
She just looks like the other Supergirl, but she's different. Like, yeah, you could definitely, if you wanted to keep Sashe Calle, you could just give her a different suit, and you could be like, this is the other universe, Kara. Don't worry about it.
Just my 2 cents. The reason all these comic books have multiverses is it gives them license to just be like, yeah, go with it.
Yeah. I thought the whole purpose of like the DCU with what James Gunn was doing was to like clean the slate, make everything easier to understand. And now it's all still very, it's more confusing than it was.
I suspect that the reason that they needed this movie so badly to like come out was literally, I thought it was like they were going to do stuff within the movie to like set up the next stage. And I think that the movie was just setting up the concept of a multiverse, which I didn't know needed like a whole, like people would have just won with it. I don't know that they needed that, but I think that they were like, no, this movie sets up the idea of a multiverse. And then like, that's when we start these new DC, like the James Gunn ones, people won't be confused because they'll understand the multiverse. I'm like, people are just gonna go with it. They're just gonna be like, oh, cool, a Superman movie? I'll go to that. Like I feel like there was some overthinking involved here.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought it was a decent attempt at a Flash movie.
Yeah.
I guess. There were some things I didn't like about it, but other things that I thought were done well.
Yeah.
Some of the effects I don't think were the best. It looked like they either ran out of time or ran out of money. I don't know one. Because some of that the desert scene, some of it was a little sketchy. To me anyway. But I thought it was better than I thought it was going to be.
I thought the story for him was good, and I think like thematically the idea of like letting go of your past makes a lot of sense, and it does make a lot of sense because again, I was joking early on that like of course Batman's in this movie. He's in every movie. Every WB movie has to have a Batman.
They're
maybe
contractually
more than once.
Obligated.
Could you get 12 Batmans into your movie? Great, even more Batman.
Well, actually, let's count them.
Into the Batman verse, yes.
Ben Affleck. George Clooney. Michael Keaton. Adam West. Was that all of them?
I think that was all of them.
So 4.
So we got 4 Batmen.
That's more than I thought going in. I thought we were only having 2.
I figured 2, but we doubled the amount of Batman I was expecting. But Batman does kind of make sense as the character that he would relate to and talk to, because somebody who also lost his parents.
Right.
And also, like, that was a big motivator for his whole life going forward. So, like, to have Batman say, like, this is part of me. Like, I couldn't take this away and still be who I am now.
Right.
I think that was impactful. Like, he says it in the beginning of the movie, and the Flash is not ready to hear it. And by the time, like, he's talking to, like, Michael Keaton's Batman, he's starting to finally get it. Like, I might not be able to change this.
Does he get it when does he finally get it when he realizes he's destroying the multiverse? Like,
I think that's when it finally goes in. We're like, now I really got to fix things.
We have really screwed some things up.
And we got to.
And my other me just will not let it go.
We gotta reset it, and other guy is not taking no for an answer.
Lost it.
He needs to see Supergirl die a couple more times.
He's gonna get it though. He's gonna fix it.
By the 50th time she gets taken out, he's gonna finally get this concept.
So, I guess we'll talk more about the Flash movie in depth and discuss it more intensely, because I have more thoughts. We could talk about the post-credit sequence and all of that. But
the post-credit sequence, I have no words for that thing. I really don't. It ended, and I like turned to Rebecca, and then I turned to Mike, and I was like, what was that?
What was the point?
What was the point of that?
So
yeah, thumbs down from Mike on the post-credit sequence. Aquaman really needs an intervention. Aquaman needs help.
The only thing I thought was really clever about that whole thing,
couple steps.
We'll just talk about it now.
Yeah.
Is that I thought it was a real disrespect though for him to like. This was disrespectful, but also clever that he fell face forward into water.
Yeah, I thought so too.
I did think the water.
I thought the water was gonna end up being something important, and then he was just rolling around in it, and I was like,
he just looked like a Saturday night drunk.
No, not sidewalk water, Arthur. You don't know what's. Oh, Arthur, no.
Anything could be in that sidewalk water.
Everything is in that. He is forever unclean.
I'll probably go see it again just to make some notes off of it.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something that pops up again that I didn't notice the first time. But I don't know. I'm kind of with you. Like, it was a good movie.
Overall, I enjoyed it.
It wasn't the best movie of all time.
There's a lot of hype about, like, this is such a great superhero movie. It's one of the greatest superhero movies of all time. Blah, 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 blah. It's good. It's good.
Yeah.
Do I recommend seeing it? Yeah, sure. You should go see it. It's fun. Should you expect Supergirl to end up triumphant at the end of it? No. Doesn't go well for her. But overall, I thought it was like a fun movie. The hype was pretty extreme around it. I feel like that was maybe not warranted.
The Supergirl stuff is perplexing because they like made a Barbie of her.
It's kind of tough. It was tough. It was tough to deal with.
They keep talking about like little girls are gonna look up to her and all this kind of stuff. Like,
oh no! Now I imagine like a little girl going in with her Supergirl Barbie and like, oh, I can't wait to see Supergirl. And then it's like halfway through the movie and she's like, where's Supergirl? And then Supergirl finally shows up and she's like, yay, it's Supergirl. And then it gets to the end and she goes, no. And then no. Some little girls are gonna be traumatized by this. Maybe
like traumatized.
You might want to tell the Supergirl fan in your life to just kind of expectations set.
Well, I just appreciate that I had the opportunity to come and visit with you and Mike and have the opportunity to experience Supergirl's death over and over again with both of you.
Like
that
a
was a real
support
treat.
group.
That was a real treat.
Oh no, wasn't ready for this. It is fun to be able to record this sitting next to each
We're
other.
in the same
look
shot.
at this. Look at this.
That's wild.
It's fun.
So I thank you for letting me come and bother you this weekend.
No, it's been great. We're gonna go have some soup dumplings and eat our feelings about
Now
Supergirl's
this
deaths.
has been hyped up, maybe more than the Flash movie.
I hope it lives up to your
so
expectations.
I have very high expectations. So we'll see if maybe this will change my life.
I feel like this very well could.
McGurk! I love
Not
typing.
mess with my Google Docs, Meeksy.
Supergirl Radio is going live every night of the week. How do you like it? Is becoming a human burrito a plus or a minus? I don't know. It does seem snug.
I mean, they say you are what you eat.
Kira.
I love that.
So I do a podcast called Supergirl Radio, and one of our segments is Lena Luthor, Boardroom or Ballroom, because
She looks like a boss in this coat.
Nasty Luthor like a different Luthor? It's not just Lena being mean?
no.
Helen Slater here. So fun to know that you're hosting a podcast called Supergirl Radio.
Yeah!